Have you ever felt like life is passing you by, but you're not really living? You wake up every day, fulfill your obligations, smile when expected, but inside, a heavy silence echoes. An emptiness that no one sees, a tiredness that doesn't originate in the body but in the soul. It's as if existence has become a poorly rehearsed theater, where the script was written by others, and you only pretend to be in control. Nietzsche called this the reactive life, a life that is not born from the inside out, but is shaped by fears, expectations, and external conditioning. And the most painful part? Most people don't even realize they are trapped in this. They live like emotional sleepwalkers, awake on the outside, asleep on the inside. But there is a trick, a subtle move, an internal inversion capable of transforming this torpor into real power. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because this video isn't just another piece of content. It could be the push you need to free yourself from emotional apathy and take back control of your life. We live in an age where external achievements are glorified, but the health of the soul is neglected, where appearing happy is worth more than actually being happy, where many lose themselves trying to please everyone, and in the process betray themselves. The anguish that silently consumes so many adults doesn't just come from the tiring routine, but from the disconnection from one's own purpose. It's the weight of carrying a life that makes no sense, while pretending to the world that everything is fine. Nietzsche saw this with brutal clarity. For him, the greatest danger was not suffering, but the absence of meaning. What destroys a man, he said, is not pain, but the lack of a why to endure it. And maybe you feel it now, a certain subtle discomfort, as if something inside you knows that you are living less than you could, that there is a calling, muffled but still alive, an intuition that something needs to change. This is the first step, recognizing pain not as weakness, but as a compass. She points to where you have lost yourself, and maybe, just maybe, she is the one trying to wake you up to a new awareness. In the next chapter, we will look into Nietzsche's most powerful philosophical mirror, the eternal return, and understand how it can flip your mental switch in an irreversible way. Chapter 2, the eternal return and the encounter with personal power. Imagine that at the end of this life, a mysterious being looked you in the eye and said, "Everything you've ever lived, every choice, every regret, every little moment, you'll have to live it all over again, and again, countless times, for all eternity." This is Nietzsche's provocation, one of the most radical and revealing thoughts of modern philosophy, the eternal return. But it's not about literally believing this. It's about something much deeper. If you were forced to live this same life over and over again, would you accept it with joy? Or would you feel shame, fear, boredom, regret? This question, however uncomfortable it may be, is an invitation to supreme responsibility. Nietzsche didn't want to scare you. He wanted to wake you up. He wanted you to look at your life with eyes of fire and ask, am I living in a way that I would be proud to repeat? Because if the answer is no, then something needs to change, now, not tomorrow. This is the turning point. The pain of imagining a meaningless life being repeated forever turns into an impulse to recreate the present with authenticity. Nietzsche believed that personal power comes when you stop running away from life and start facing it head-on. No excuses, no disguises. He wanted you to say yes to your existence, even with all the flaws, even with all the falls, because that's where true power lies, radically accepting reality and still rising with dignity. This is the challenge that separates the asleep from the awake, the reactive from the creative. And if this is touching you, leave your like now, not out of vanity, but because it shows that you are here, present, aware, and committed to your own evolution. In the next chapter, we will reveal the heart of this philosophy, Nietzsche's silent trick, the concept that can transform pain into strength. Amor Fati. Chapter 3. Amor Fati, the silent trick that changes everything. It is not enough to endure life. Nietzsche said, "It is not enough to carry the burden of existence. One must love it." This sentence at first glance sounds like madness. Love the pain, love the losses, love even the failures. Yes, but not as masochism, but as freedom. The name for this is Amor Fati, loving fate. This is the key that few have the courage to turn, because accepting what happened is hard enough, but loving what happened, that requires a kind of inner greatness that can only be achieved in the soul. But when you achieve that, something changes forever. Amor Fati is not about resignation. It is not saying everything happens for a reason as a superficial consolation. It is much deeper. It's saying yes to life with all its imperfections. It's looking at your scars and realizing that they didn't weaken you, they shaped you. It's understanding that the pain you experienced wasn't your enemy. It was your initiation. Nietzsche believed that those who love their own destiny, no matter how hard it may, have become invincible, because what else can stop you if even your falls become part of your strength? This is the silent trick that gives you power. You stop fighting reality and start dancing with it. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What happened to me? What can I do with this now?" And it is at that moment that suffering stops being noise and becomes purpose. Nietzsche knew, the strongest human being is not the one who avoids pain. It is the one who transforms pain into a force of expression. And now I invite you to reflect. What was the pain in your life that changed you the most inside? Comment below. Not to expose yourself, but to inspire. Your story could be someone's awakening. In the next chapter, we will move away from theory and delve into a concrete example, an ordinary human being who fell, but who used Amor Fati to get up even stronger. Chapter 4. The man who falls and gets up stronger. He lost everything. His wife left him. The job that supported his family disappeared, and along with that, his self-esteem, his identity, his faith in life. For weeks, he barely got out of bed. The world seemed like a meaningless place. The days were too long, and the nights endless. He didn't want to die, but he also didn't want to go on living like this. This man could be anyone. Maybe you, maybe someone you love. But what changed his trajectory was not an external miracle. It was the moment when, in the midst of despair, he asked himself a question that would change everything. What if this wasn't a punishment, but a calling? He began to look at the rubble of his life not as ruins, but as foundations. He accepted the pain. He stopped asking to go back to the way things were before, and he began to build something new, more true, more intimate, more his own. Nietzsche said, "Whatever does not kill me makes me stronger." But he was not talking about physical strength. He was talking about strength of spirit, the kind that only arises when you fall, and even then you decide to get up, not out of pride, but out of dignity. This man did not become a millionaire. He did not write a book. He did not become famous, but he became free, because he no longer carried the burden of being anything other than himself. The fall cleansed him. Suffering emptied him of his ego, and Amor Fati rebuilt him, with fewer masks and more truth. This is the beauty hidden in pain. It breaks down what is false, so that only what is essential remains. How many times have you fallen and thought it was the end? But now, looking back, do you realize that that moment transformed you? You don't have to have all the answers today, but you do need the courage to keep going. In the next and final chapter, we'll bring this journey back to you, to your power, because even if the world has made you forget, you are stronger than you've been taught to believe. Chapter 5. You are stronger than you've been taught to believe. Since we were little, we were taught to obey, to follow rules, to please, not to bother. We were taught not to feel too much, not to dream too much, not to question too much. And the cruelest thing, we were taught to doubt our own strength. But here is the truth that Nietzsche wanted you to see with your own eyes. You are stronger than any pain you have ever experienced. Not because nothing hits you, but because whatever hits you, you survive. You went through nights that seemed to have no end. You cried silently where no one saw. You reinvented yourself when no one believed, and even so you continued. Nietzsche said that true human greatness lies in affirming life, even when it seems to deny everything in you. He didn't want you to be perfect.